Joining me live is Liberal MP for Fisher, former Speaker of the House, Andrew Wallace. Of course, a Queensland MP. Thank you for your time. What's your take on what's going on up there, that the polls seem to be closing a little bit? Is there a sense this is tightening and the LNP is facing a bit more of a fight to win government off Labor?
Well, Tom, we know that 600,000 people have voted just in pre-poll, and we've had over 600,000 applications for postal votes that have been processed. So I think people are getting out and trying to get in before election day, and that's a good thing. It is not uncommon at all for the polls to tighten as it gets closer to election day. So, I don't think we should be reading too much into that. I think people are well and truly, though, sick and tired of this state Labor government. They've been in power for 30 out of 35 years, I think it is. They are well and truly had enough. Look, Stephen Miles, I was listening to his press conference just then. This is a guy who will do and say anything to try and hang on to the reins of power. We saw just a week or so ago him promising free lunches for all schools without having any idea about how that would possibly be managed. They'll do anything, they'll say anything. He'll offer any amount of money. It doesn't matter what they will do. But I think Queenslanders have had enough. I've said this for many months now, that Queenslanders have had enough. They remember Anastasia Palaszczuk. They remember Stephen Miles as being a part of her government as her deputy premier, and they've just had enough. They've had enough of the waste. They've had enough of the cost of living issues. We've seen, even though energy generation is owned by the state in Queensland, we've seen significant increases in power costs. Well, we were told that this government would keep their power prices low, and we've seen anything but in Queensland. And I also heard him talk about the crime issues. Well, I'd love to hear him repeat that in Townsville and in many other parts of the state that are experiencing significant increases and the effects of youth crime. You can't just stick your head in the sand and say this isn't happening. And that's exactly what the Premier has been doing.
What do you make of the abortion issue? Is it hurting the LNP? We have had, backbenchers raising concerns. Does this make the party seem out of touch with how people want things to be in the modern age?
Tom, to be honest, I haven't really thought too much about that. That's an issue that doesn't impact on me at a federal level. I think David Crucifulli has been pretty clear.
He must have been reading things and talking to local MPs, surely, and thought how it's playing out. Yeah, I know, there's always politics in there. You'd be cognizant of it.
Yeah, look, as I said, things will always tighten getting closer to the polls, but at the end of the day, I think people have seen a cost of living crisis under both Labor at a federal level and a state level, and they've had enough. They know that David Crucifulli's got a plan to reduce cost of living. He's got a plan to ensure that Queensland becomes the great state that it once was. And I think David Crucifulli and his team is the right people to deliver that for Queenslanders. And from almost every Queenslander that I have spoken to over the last many, many months, they are telling me that they've had a gutful of this Labor government. It's time for a change. It's time for a fresh start in Queensland.
We'll find out on Saturday night, of course. I'm sure you'll be tuned into our coverage. Let's talk about a couple of other elements. Lydia Thorpe and her protest. A lot of people saying not the right way to do it respectfully. She wouldn't have got the attention, I guess, if she just held a quiet press conference. The more attention you get to a cause, I guess the person doing it thinks the better it is. What did you make of it all?
Well, I was there in the room, Tom. I was only standing a couple of metres away from her when she carried on like a two-bob watch. And look, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Tom. That sort of philosophy is, any good publicity is good publicity. But, we've seen Indigenous groups coming out, individuals coming out and condemning her actions yesterday. She does nothing whatsoever to advance Indigenous reconciliation in this country. She is, in fact, a reason why many problems continue. She doesn't assist Indigenous Australians or their cause for reconciliation. It was wonderful for the King to be here. He's obviously overcoming and going through cancer treatment at the moment. It was terrific to be able to enjoy, for Australians to be able to enjoy the King and Queen being here in Australia. But for that demonstration of Lydia Thorpe really shows why people shouldn't vote for the Greens. Now, she was voted in under a Greens ticket. This is the sort of people that you get when you vote for the Greens. Hardline activists who have no modicum of respect for anything. And this is a woman that's receiving $260,000 a year by Commonwealth taxpayers, and yet the very system that she works within, she condemns. She condemns our parliamentary democracy and everything that has made Australia great, the rule of law, separation of powers, all our great principles Lydia Thorpe stands against. And I just think, well, if you hate it that much, there's the door.
All right.
Leave the parliament. If this causes you so much consternation, I don't think there'd be too many Australians that would be concerned if she, in fact, they would probably be elated if she retired from parliament.
Andrew Wallace, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Tom.